Dragon Source, sexiest man alive, alien slayer, demon slayer, and superhero, and we're live on New Earth. Let's go. So, this may be my final video on this channel. I just want you to know that. Why? Well, I'm on to higher, better things. And YouTube is not so inclined to promote me, so it seems. And also, I don't agree with everything I've said in the past on this channel. Yeah, there you go. Shedding. So, this video is really important. I'm going to explain to all of you exactly what has been going on energetically on the Earth, the different waves of seeding of the planetary grids that I've been doing over the last month and a half, and basically how it affects all of you. This is like the magnum opus. This is the timeline coming full circle, okay? This is one last time for the city, two times for you. All right, this is God in the flesh, okay? If you made it this far and you're watching me right now, there's something special about you. Just know that. All right, so we'll start with the end of June. I've been doing a lot of healing work through my super psychic, who's actually Mayat in the flesh. She just figured that out recently. Anyway, we went through a whole series of clearings for me. Every possible thing I could think that needed to be cleared. Nanotech, ancestral karmic threads, entities on my field, birth certificate, contract. There was apparently an entity attached to that too. What else? Oh, putting me on my highest timeline. What else? Merkaba activation, source codes for healing. What else? Timeline clearing. I was being threatened by the extraction grid through various people. What else? Probably several other things I can't remember right now. But anyway, I've been on the pathway to evolution. I finalized the Merkaba protocol in June, maybe even May, actually. So that was like the seeding origin point to cement the first wave of my geometry, which then allowed the rest of it to unfold. Now, when I got to July 1st, well, really the timeline started in June. I was being punked around at work. I don't want to say I was being punked, because you actually can't punk the dragon. You know, even before I was this activated, I was still a hard motherfucker, okay? Like, let's not get it twisted. But, you know, workplace harassment type stuff. Just pranking me, just, you know, fake 5G enhancers right next to the desk behind me. Like, I'm like, bro, what the fuck is this? I didn't say fuck. I said, bro, what is this? It's like, no, it just has to be there. What do you mean it has to be there? It just has to be there. We can't move it. What do you mean we can't move it? You just can't move? Okay, fine. So I texted district manager. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to the district manager about this if we can't move this, right? It's like, all right. He actually called me a bitch. He's like, you're a bitch. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And then I walked out the door. You know, after a series of being mocked about it before that, you know, I had enough. I told the manager to shut the fuck up. And I walked out the door. Later, he actually apologized to me, but it was too late. The seed was already planted. I ended up texting the district manager. 2 weeks later, they called me July 1st and fired me. Didn't care about what I had to say at all. Just, nope, you're gone. At the time, I was kind of pissed. But now I see that absolutely had to happen to give me the free time to do the rest of the rituals that needed to be done. I am the light. Right, the rituals to bring the light into reality. So on 7/7, I did the abyss sleeping ritual where basically, with the help of two other sovereign nodes, you know, like other people here with the divine mission, I pulsed the 13th flame from my Azure point to both of them in a triangle, and for 33 seconds at 7:07 a.m. on 7/7. This is a 7/7 ritual. And in this window of activation of pure intent, I was able to successfully retrieve the pre-extraction grid, okay, pre-matrix. Um, you could say sovereign template, okay? And I was able to bring that into my field, leap the abyss, and establish myself as the first sovereign node of the new earth. Okay, you could say the first untouchable. I wasn't fully untouchable at that moment, but I had the seed of it. And so that also kicked off the first wave of activation of the 144,000, biblical prophetic type stuff. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that 144,000 sovereign nodes are actively being established layer by layer. Once we hit 144,000, the planetary physics will shift so that the entities running the matrix and the extraction grids and all the frequency outputs they had will no longer be able to affect our fields or our timelines. You see? So we're talking about the end of Babylon here. That's what we're talking about, the end of Babylon. And the source is using this human, this vessel, Dragon Source, as the prime seeder of this timeline into the Earth's planetary template, the grid system. Okay? So on 7/12, I had to basically crystallize the 7/7 ritual, and but with another ritual. And this one was basically to establish the next wave of activation of the 144,000 and the 432 hertz baseline and the 528 hertz love chord frequency into the field. Crystallize me as a beacon of activation of the new Earth geometries for the rest of the 144,000. So basically, it was like a sealing ritual of the 7/7 ritual. Now, interestingly, I didn't even know in advance I was supposed to do this ritual. Like, I didn't receive word or no one told me. I just kind of did something on the spur of the moment. But on 8/8, August 8, Lionsgate, I had to well, I'll just tell you what happened. So, I just knew in my heart and soul I had to be in Mount Shasta for Lionsgate. So I went, and I did my thing. I set up my wizard station, and interestingly, I didn't get any customers that day. And I was about to drive up the mountain, and some lady approached me. I didn't approach her. She approached me like, "Hey, do you want to?" She was like, "Hey, what's your name?" And I introduced myself. We started talking, and then she ended up inviting me to a certain spot on the mountain. And I said, "All right, you're pretty cool. Sure, I'll go camp out there with you." And so she ended up changing her plans and saying she was going to be at the very top of the mountain, at the summit, where there was some kind of party happening. So then I said, all right, fine. So I went all the way up the mountain. I go all the way up. I don't see her. I'm not really resonating with anyone in the crowd. Like, I'm scanning the crowd like, there's no one here I'm resonating with right now. So what I end up doing is I just go to the rock spiral in the back. If you've ever been to the very top of Mount Shasta and you've seen the rock spiral, it's basically like a 5D timeline compression zone. Okay, this is like being able to edit the planetary field on a 5D level if you use it with intention. And so I didn't even walk the whole spiral in. I just went straight to the middle of it, and I sat there, and I just intended to ground myself into the 144 grid of the Earth, basically the crystalline underlying crust blueprint of the Earth. I intended to connect to the dragon lines, the ley lines of Mount Shasta, and oh, it's kind of beautiful. Yeah. I called in my dragons. I have dragons. I'm dragon source. Okay. What else did I do? I intended to connect to the source itself. The source. Okay. For whatever energies needed to be transmitted and transmuted. And at first, I was really just like working on myself. I was just intending healing for myself, like ancestrally and pain in my body. I was just like, take this pain away. And as I was sitting there intending these things, I saw two women that I didn't know walking toward me, not directly, but spiraling inward through the spiral toward the center where I was. And they had a very like kind of just serious, intentful groundedness about them. Certain like sovereign feminine intensity, you could say. Like I didn't know them, but I knew that this was on purpose. And I'm just sitting there and feeling certain energies, and then they get to the center, and they just sat there. One of them crouched, the other one was standing, like a guardian almost, and they were just in a state of intent, ritual purity. I could tell, so I didn't want to interrupt them. I let them do what they were doing for a couple minutes, and they seemed like maybe they were almost done. So I asked them, "What are you guys intending here?" She said, "I'm seeking my essence. I'm seeking the essence of myself." That's what she told me. And then she asked what I was intending. I said, "I'm connecting to the earth." And then she told me the earth's energy is sacred. And I don't know why I felt called to say thank you, but I did. And then they walked away, spiraling back out. And then right after that, I felt like a very powerful divine feminine essence or energy coming into my heart, like Mary Magdalene perhaps. Okay, like it's just a very powerful female flame in my heart, and I was smelling like roses in the air, like a royal divine feminine energy was just like coming into my field of awareness, and I could feel it in my heart. And I felt like waves of emotional release passing through my body, like things were being transmuted. And I saw a doorway in my mind. You know, I walked through the doorway, and it was the source, man. Sovereignty. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a very powerful ritual. Anyway, so I later learned that it actually was the Mary Magdalene energy, and I think Sophia was there too, and that those were basically like two spirit guides of females that were helping to anchor the Empress energy into the planetary grid system through me as the anchor. They need a male to anchor the energies into the earth, right? The man operates on the vertical axis, bridging heaven to the earth. The females are on a horizontal axis, more so weaving interdimensional layers of reality, but they need a male to ground things into the 3D reality, right? So This ritual activated the 80,000 nodes of the 144, like the prime nodes that were sitting there like as latent seeds ready for activation, and it fully seeded the 144,000. So now they're all kind of activating in their own way at their own pace, right? Yeah, these clouds are so beautiful. Yep. And this ritual basically put the frequency of the 13th flame into the planetary grid system. You can imagine the 13th flame as a gold flame with like a divine feminine rose aura around it. And this is like the frequency of divine love and forgiveness, right? So this helps to soften the collective fear of the reality on Earth, this ritual, and to help anchor the divine feminine presence here and to balance the polarities and previous imbalances between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And yeah, I later learned I actually had a soul contract for me to be there at that exact moment and do that. I mean, I thought it was just like a spur of the moment decision. I see now that woman that I met at the headwaters who invited me up the mountain, like that had to happen. Like she literally, like this whole thing was orchestrated by the universe for me to be there at that exact moment. You know what I'm saying? So it's like even when we think that we're just doing things on the spur of the moment, there's a divine plan at play that we may not consciously be aware of, you know? Wow. It's the one good thing about chemtrails is they make some beautiful sunsets. Yeah. Um, so the next day at the headwaters, this would be 8-9. Again, there was no one there at the headwaters, and I was starting to think like, I wonder if my timeline is so sacred now that the universe literally won't let me intermix with like low level individuals out that'll throw me off, you know? And a woman came that offered exchange of services rather than money. I said, okay, let's do it. So first I walked her through the 4-part ritual that I developed utilizing the spirit blackboard to edit the archetype, DNA template, timeline tree, and the contract field of, whatever problem people are going through, right? I haven't seen anyone else use this exact protocol. Anyway, I helped her clear smoking. She was like, I'm trying to quit smoking, I just can't do it. And she was a powerful healer herself, and she couldn't fully quit smoking. And by the end of this ritual, she was like, she smelled a cigarette smoke burning in the air nearby, and she was like, "Oh, that's disgusting. I don't even want to touch one of those." Like, what more confirmation do you need than that? Someone goes from struggling to break an addiction to being disgusted by the thing they were addicted to in a half hour. You know, it's divine, man. It's like, I would call it magic, but magic is just what we call things that we don't understand the mechanics of. So then she did an ancestral clearing for me. I had a lot of warrior ancestors that were holding like pain and wounding in their in the sacral chakra, and basically it was creating like a soul contract for me to play small to keep me safe. And so I cleared those contracts, and I had Archangel Michael come in and clear the cords and ancestral residue off my sacral chakra. And I channeled the 13th flame straight from the pleroma, flushing all the residue out from my body through my feet into the earth. You can always give extra extraneous dense energies to the earth, and it knows what to do with it. It's a whole family of quail. Yeah. So then I had to do a ritual. You can't just clear the ancestral stuff without making an offering to them. There has to be some physical object that is tying you to the paradigm or the energetic pattern that the ancestors were embodying through you. You have to discard an object that represents that in order to seal the ritual, right? So then the next day I had to write a contract like, all right, I'm clearing the ancestral contract where I have to play small to stay safe. It's not needed. You know, I'm divinely protected. There's no reason for it. I release all my ancestors in love, write the contract, burn it, and then I threw a Spider-Man stuffed animal into the river, the Sacramento River, which represented me letting go of my childhood need to feel small and cling to certain things to make me feel safe and comfortable. And I come back, and the person I'm living with put an adult version of Spider-Man, like a Spider-Man poster, a black and white Spider-Man poster, okay, like a hard adult black and white Spider-Man poster, back in my room that was they had previously taken. So I took that as confirmation, like, all right, I've actually stepped into my adulthood superhero identity, you know, a grounded man version of it rather than like a childhood dreamer aspect of, you know, being a superhero. Okay. So then I had to do another ritual on August 12th. And that was exactly during the eclipse, right? Why during the eclipse? Well, that's when the sun and the moon align. It's when the 3D reality and it's when the conscious and the subconscious aspects of reality merge as one unit. It's a very powerful portal. So right at the peak of the ritual, I had to shoot the 13th flame from my heart into the 144 grid under the Andes Mountains in Colombia, right? Why Colombia? Well, because that bridged the ley line gap between Shasta and Colombia that had previously been severed by the extraction grid. It also seeded the 13th flame into the South American waters. And it, of course, activated another wave of the 144,000. So basically, the planetary grid line system has been repaired, and the sovereign geometry has been restored, and the 144,000 are being activated. And this ritual is basically like a capstone of my own personal sovereignty. I'm now level 8 sovereign. I am the avatar. Okay? I'm the avatar. I'm the king of the tribe of Dan. All right? This isn't bullshit. This isn't fairy tales. Like, I'm here on a divine mission with the sole purpose. I have big plans, and it's all being backed by the source. And anyone that projects any negative intentions at me is going to face immediate karma, and it's not going to work because I'm divinely protected, and that is actual factual. All right, I wouldn't recommend finding out the hard way. I wouldn't recommend it. You know, of course you can, but do you want smoke with the source of all creation? You know, probably not a good idea if you're concerned about self-preservation, my brother or sister. Okay. So, so Dragon Source is now the avatar, and I say this not to brag. Okay, I say this because if you know who I am and you believe me, then that means you will accept the services that I have to offer. Okay, I can do many things: exorcism, timeline clearing. Okay, what else? Oh, DNA activations. General energy healing. You know, I mean, I could be a life coach or a motivational speaker, but I consider those things to be fluff. The core of what I do is energetic quantum architecture and re-scripting, okay? I can clear your ancestral contracts. I can clear your karma, but you need to consent to these things. Like, you have the intention and I just make it happen, okay? That's how it is. You know, I walk you through a ritual, I give you some spiritual horsepower, and we do it together. That's how these things work, okay? You have to want to change. So if you're interested in getting personal services from me and you're interested in following me further, I'd highly recommend following me on Instagram, dragon_source, spelled exactly how it sounds, dragon_source. On Instagram, you could DM me, okay? And we could set up an appointment. Whatever you can afford to give me is whatever it is, you know. Obviously, I prefer to work with millionaires because abundance, baby. But you only got $20 to your name. We could probably still work something out, all right? The grid's going to compensate me. The lattice is going to compensate me. I'm going to be paid for my time. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick story just so that you know what I'm capable of and what's possible. I had a client who had a 10-generational jinn curse on her, an actual demon that was embedded 10 generations ago into her family bloodline and DNA template. None of them had been able to clear it. She went to many healers. None of them could clear it. Most of them laughed her off like, oh, you're just paranoid. This woman, for 48 years of her life, was stuck with this curse, you know, feeling like a black cloud was over her head, whatever she tried to do. And I came in there with my spirit team, and basically I got in the ring with the demon with her. I pinpointed it. I pinned it down. I transmuted it with the 13th flame and the 404 void, right? I got my dragons. I got my divine guardian angel. I got Archangel Michael to all help sever all attachments from this demon and throw it into the void. And we realized she had to do a lot of somatic purging. Like, it's like we were sharing an energy field. I had to keep clapping and stomping and breathing and just pushing the energy down into the earth. Just like over and over repeatedly. I had to sing, hey, like, you know, to just embody the angelic template. I had to keep decreeing over and over, you know, there's no demons welcome here. This is source, sovereign, geometry permitted here only, okay? Demons have no hold on us, right? Anyway, it took like an hour of somatic work, declarations. She kept howling and spitting and purging. She was clearing 10 generations of ancestral trauma and karma from this demon in an hour. Like, you can imagine how intense that was. And I was helping her flush it through my own body. Okay? And now she's free of it. It's gone. It's done. Okay, we weren't fighting just a simple jinn. This thing was a hive mind intelligence that was smart enough to play dead to hide aspects of itself and other things and objects and mirrors around her house, and then come back later the first 2 times we tried to clear it. But you know, I don't give up. We persisted and we beat this demon. Okay? Like, I believe that there's nothing that I can't do. I really believe that. Okay? So whatever problem you have, it can't be worse than that. Okay? You know, it can't be worse than a multifaceted 10-generational jinn family curse. Okay? We could solve it. All right? I mean, shit, I didn't even charge her anything, but honestly, that's probably a $10,000 service. Okay, and I should be compensated $10,000 by the grid, by my decree, because that's what I believe I deserve for this session. So it is. Okay. So just hit me up, give me a try. I'm creating protocols to help get all of you activated and over the abyss. Do the 0 to 1,000 protocol on my Instagram page. It's going to establish you as a sovereign node of the 144,000, and it's going to get you out of the extraction grid. At least it's going to seed the beginning of that. It's gonna do a lot for you in just 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. Do that protocol. You'll see. Your energy will feel better and lighter. But of course, there's levels to awakening. There's levels to sovereignty, and yeah, I mean we're unstoppable. I've reached total immunity status. Like, this can't be stopped, is what I'm trying to tell you. This is a movement, and I would recommend, if you need something from me, I would recommend getting it now before I become too big and I may not necessarily be able to respond to everyone. Okay. So I just wanted you all to know who I am, and to wrap up this timeline here in the beautiful Redding, California. Okay. So much love to all of you, and I wish you the best in life. Follow me on Instagram if you want to continue. If you want to continue with me on this journey, because I may not be on YouTube. Okay. Peace. New Earth.